Mom with our love. It takes a lifetime to truly appreciate all the ways a good mom makes all the difference. So much of the happiness we've experienced as a family can be traced back to your love. And this happy Mother's Day, you left us 46 years ago, but you're thought of every day. I hope you like the art gallery that has your name on it, so people will know what a great artist you were. Love, your family. We're in the Archie Shaver Art Gallery, and I've always wanted to build this, and finally got it done, and I'm going to die a very happy guy having this for remembering my mother there. She's a very special person. She painted what she lived. Yeah, that's my favorite there. Yeah, and there's a coyote in there too, but nobody could really spot him. Right there. And you know, there's always coyotes hanging around the herd of horses because some of them would die in the winter, and they were just waiting for them to die. And yeah, this is the one when we first moved over to the ranch there, and we slept in a tent because it was just a granary they hauled over for a home anyway. But we slept in the tent till they got the house so it was livable there. Before that, Mom and Dad moved over a year ahead, and they lived in a little shack, one-room shack there, and then they moved the house over. But the house was just a granary. Yeah, I don't know how in the world they done it there. Like Dad, when he took the place over Grandpa Hewitt, he couldn't pay any of his debts or owed taxes and just in a grocery bill and everything, so he had all these unbroke horses there, and they never had a halter on or nothing. They're 5 or 6 years old, so he started breaking them, and oh boy, that was a job there.
Dad was a blacksmith by trade, and he was a carpenter, but there was no money. He did a lot of blacksmithing and should have had a lot of money, but everybody couldn't afford to pay it. We'll pay in the fall. So he had a big book full of all the pay in the fall, but fall never came. The ones that could pay, they'd maybe give us a couple of chickens or a little pig or something. Some of them, but most of them never paid because they were going to wait till fall. It didn't affect us kids that much. We were quite happy anyway. We made our own fun. We played ball. We played a little everything. And at school, we had a skipping rope. And the only skipping rope, the long rope that we had, it was lots of people went in, and the boys had to crawl up on the swing and take the rope out of the swing so we could have that for skipping. I went to school at Paisley Brook. I started until they built Strawberry Coulee, and then I went to Strawberry Coulee.
We are at Paisley Brook School. It was built by my father-in-law, Dan Galbraith, had a lot to do with it to get it started. And that's where it got the name, from Paisley, Ontario, where he came from, and then the brook down below here. My mother went to school here for a while, and then in 1922, her father died, and she quit school, and then my husband, Donald, went to school here, Galbraith, and even our daughter went to school here. My dad came to Homestead down in the Big Muddy in 1911. He met her probably at Paisley Brook at a dance or something. They were married in 1927, and then I was the oldest in the bunch. My dad liked to raise lots of horses. He had horses at the place. But they farmed. When they homesteaded, they farmed that whole farm with horses. Dad like plowed, and then Mom would harrow behind. And my dad used to talk about the outlaws, that Dutch Henry and guys like that they knew. So, and so did Jim Marshall down at Marshall Ranch there at the Big Muddy, where they would stop in there. And they didn't talk much. They daresn't because it wasn't safe.
We were smuggling a bunch of cattle across the border one night, darker than hell. My dad went ahead and he said, "I'll go open the fence." Geez, we just about rode up on the border patrol. We got that close, you could smell the cigar smoke. We went around the hill into another coulee and up went over to Scotty Wise's. Well, there were some wild times. And there was always guys, in them days, there was always people traveling the border back and forth. Strangers. Nobody ever asked no questions. They stopped and they'd have a meal, but nobody asked any questions. They'd go by and, oh yeah. Our kids don't even believe it. We tell them what we went through. Well, they just didn't think that it was that tough that you had to go work and go outside to the outhouse and wash in cold water, and they never thought that was. Well, it was quite an era. Everybody was poor, but we always had lots to eat and lots of berries in the muddy. We never went hungry.
Dad always had a big garden, and it was so dry. He'd be out there early in the morning working around, because as long as you kept it worked up on top, there was still a little moisture. So we always had lots of potatoes and meat.
When we first got married, we sort of went through the pioneer thing to ourselves. We didn't have running water or electricity or nothing. That was light the coal oil lamp and run down to the well and get the water. That's how the running water was. I guess we all kind of thought it was just natural that we had to do it. Or so, when we got married, we still had to be the homesteaders, almost like they did. Not quite, but mostly. And Mom was a great singer. She taught. I got that from her, actually. I went and helped at these Christmas concerts at the school to sing. And I started playing guitar very young. And there was a fella down there that played the violin, so he would play the violin and then want me to come and bring the guitar so we can. And that was at that school, Paisley Brook School, the teacher. So we would play for their concerts, and that's where I get into the playing, I guess. This is me here with the guitar, or Linga Holbrook on piano.
Dad and I used to play for dances. He played the violin and I recorded on the guitar, and we played for school dances and wedding dances. But we went with a two-wheel cart with a horse on it there, and sometimes it was a long old trip. Yeah.
Well, I hope what they're still loving about it, it's just like every time when I go down to the farm and I go down through south of Bengoff to the Big Muddy, it just changes scenery, it seems like, all the time. I always find it a different time of the day. It's so beautiful to just look at it, actually, with the hills and the lake and stuff in the background, eh?
The lovely hills and this creeping cedar would go up some of these hills. And my girlfriend and I, she became my sister-in-law afterwards, we used to make wreaths, because nobody could afford wreaths or nobody could go any place to get them.
Oh, it was good country, good people. Oh, it was always. Yeah, it was. Everybody was good neighbors. The country was good. Got cold in the winter, lots of hard work. But yeah, we managed.
It's heaven right here on earth, and it is. It's unbelievable. The flowers and the birds and the scenery and that is just unbelievable. But you leave behind your children, that's your legacy. Yeah, and if you can be proud of them, well, you got something like they live on and on.